Scoreboard Addicts podcast, and I'm here with your Day 9 beer and a take. The beer I'm drinking today is the Founder's Dirty Bastard, which is a Scotch-style ale. Now, I drank some Scotch on our last episode Thursday, and so you know I'm a Scotch guy. I'm a bourbon guy, so to have a Scotch-style ale, I saw an opportunity, I took a shot. Apparently this was Founder's first shot. This is the beer that really brought them to the forefront as a brewery. And we're gonna give it a try. Always remember, you do want a little head on your beer. You want it to effervesce a little bit, get the bubbles out a little tiny bit so that you can actually get all of the flavors that are encompassed in this beer. This one's actually 8.5% alcohol by volume. So it's a little bit more of a kick than your average beer, Scotch style beer. I hope it lives up to the reputation. It's very flavorful, extremely flavorful. There's caramel in it because it has some sweetness to it. I like this nice dark color that you've got. It's extremely light, which I was kind of taken aback by. I wasn't prepared for it to be as light as it is. I'm very surprised at how easily chugged this could possibly be. I mean, again, I've been drinking stouts lately, so it's kind of like, ooh, is it really gonna be, heavy like a stout's gonna be? Definitely not. This is extremely crushable. Eight and a half percent. This, you don't taste much alcohol in it. You taste a lot of fruit, and then you do have some Scotch undertones. This is a very, very good beer. And damn, I'm really enjoying this. What I really liked about this is that it actually tells you when it was bottled on the bottle. I don't know too many distributors that do that. I know Sam Adams will put down hey, this beer is good until this date, and that's always a good thing. But most distributors don't. I'm gonna apologize for you if the audio on this isn't that great. I left all my microphones at work, so you're just using my phone mic right now. But hopefully it doesn't sound too good. It says on the bottle, the beer that put us on the map, ruby in color, Dirty Bastard, is complex in finish with rich notes of caramel and dried fruits, a malty sweetness paired with the right hook of hop power. Give this Scotch-style ale all the attitude that its namesake implies. I love the name, Dirty Bastard. Kind of reminds me of Arrogant Bastard by Stone, but this is very good. Founder's Brewing Company. Now for my take. It's bowl season coming up, right? I already went on my rant about Florida State, but let me tell you a little something else about bowl season that happens that should get more credit and should get more publicity than it does. The Army-Navy game is today. All right? The Army-Navy game is today. And this is by far the best football game you will get in college football. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay? All of these kids have the same profession when they graduate from their school. Regardless of whether or not they play football, they are still going to end up doing the same job. They are legitimately playing it for the love of the game. They don't get a scholarship to play football at Army. Every kid at Army, every kid at Navy, or their properties, West Point and Annapolis, is on scholarship. They got in based on their merit. But some of them can play football, and they play football at this school. Their school. And they're all going to be doing a job 99% of Americans would never do, ever. And some of them have real talent. There have been real football players that have played for these schools, and they ended up in the NFL. Roger Staubach went to Annapolis and served in the Navy before becoming quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Alejandro Villanueva went to West Point and he played tight end before he went on to be an Army Ranger, serve in Afghanistan, and then ultimately become a Pittsburgh Steeler. In more recent times, I don't recall the cadet's name, but he graduated last season, and he was picked up as an undrafted free agent this offseason, and he's currently playing for the Minnesota Vikings as an outside linebacker. All right, these guys, luckily for some of these guys, a couple of years back, the president made it possible for them to play pro sports before serving for their nation. They still owe that time to either the reserve or the active component. But before that, there was no option for these guys to go on and fulfill that dream of playing professional sports, other than doing their time and then getting out and then hoping to get back in the sport. David Robinson, a Hall of Fame basketball player, went to Annapolis, ended up playing for the San Antonio Spurs and winning a few championships over there with Tim Duncan. They were the Twin Towers. But this game is the most wholesome, the most love of the game football game that you will watch on television this year, I promise you. All right? It's nice to watch a football game and know that none of the players on the field have character issues. None of them probably, I would say most of them, if not 99%, 100%, haven't been arrested and probably won't get arrested for the duration of their lives. They're all getting a proper education. When they graduate, they'll be able to read and speak publicly, which you can't say for half the guys in the NFL. They're not going to enter the transfer portal and just try to better themselves. These guys are putting it on the line. Nobody's going to hold out of this game because they're afraid that they're going to get injured and it will cost them money in the future. And that's a wholesome thing if you really want to think about it. These guys are completely selfless. They're going out there and they're just playing football because they love football. And I understand that it may not be the most entertaining game in the world, but you have to admit that these guys love football, and they're only doing this because they love football. Not for the millions, not for the adoration, not for anything. At the end of the day, they're all going to end up working for the government, and they're all going to get paid pennies on the dollar compared to the other guys in Division 1A football that are going to end up getting jobs doing other things. And you really got to clap it up for these guys and say, hey man, thanks for going out there, putting it on the line, just doing a job. At playing football, and then going out further and doing a job that, again, 99% of Americans would never do that job. And it's really an awesome thing to see. And hats off to both the midshipmen and the Black Knights today. This is really good. I actually really like this. I'm glad I came across it. I love the name, Dirty Bastard. Reminds me of the guys from Navy, the midshipmen, a bunch of dirty bastards. Just so those of you who don't know, the Navy encompasses the Marines and the Navy. So the Marines and the Navy both serve at Annapolis. That's their college. Both teams have had Heisman Trophy winners. Navy's won a national championship. I believe the Army's won 2 national championships. Obviously not in the modern era, in the pre-forward pass era, back when you didn't have to play football at 300 pounds as an offensive lineman, which is probably why a little bit about why they struggle, because obviously the Army and the Navy and the Marines have height and weight standards that even the cadets have to meet. So offensive and defensive linemen can't make 300 pounds. Bill Belichick, head coach of the New England Patriots, arguably the most successful, definitely not arguably, the most successful coach in the history of the NFL. His father actually coached at Navy as when he was a kid. Out of 5 flights, I'd give this one 4.5. This was really good. I enjoyed it very much. Again, 8.5% alcohol. Founders, Dirty Bastard. That's all I got for you, one. This was my beer. That was my take. Go Army, beat Navy.